My best friend only keeps me around because I'm fat. Disclaimer, this is not my story time with sending me on Instagram. I've always been the chunky, pudgy, overweight, chubby girl in the group. Now, our friend group consisted of 4 girls in high school. Once we graduated college, 3 of us stuck together while the other one was kind of out. Then the other 2 girls in the group got boyfriends, and I was on my own. Eventually, they stopped reaching out to me and it was like I didn't even exist. Now, let me be very clear about something. I have accepted that I'm the chunky girl of the group. I never get jealous. I do not envy them. They are all very attractive and skinny, but I just don't care about that. I'm happy that they love their bodies, but I feel okay in mine. But of course, I knew that I needed to get healthier, so I signed up to the gym. Around this time, one of my girlfriends broke up with her boyfriend and she started coming around again. And I accepted her friendship again, but I told her that it hurt my feelings that she completely ignored me once she got a boyfriend. She promised that she would never do it again, and we started going to the gym together. She's the one that always gets hits on. Guys compliment her. It's like I don't even exist. In fact, they ask me for her number when she doesn't want to give it to them. You see where this is going? Decided to get dressed up all cute and we went to a bar together. Babe, part 2 is up. You gotta go. Best friend only keeps me around because I'm fat and I make her look good. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. It was sent to me on Instagram. That's when she invited me to go to our favorite bar. As usual, she always invites me to go to her place to get ready. Nope, she can never come to mine. So I lugged all my clothes and makeup all the way to her place. And as we're getting ready, she starts suggesting that I change my outfit. I felt really cute in my outfit. It was a sleek black blazer with the matching bottoms, tight black tank top, and gold jewelry. But as soon as she saw my outfit, she said I looked way too formal. And then she spent the next 30 minutes trying to convince me to change and put on one of her tight-ass dresses. I asked her if she was in her right mind, considering her dress wouldn't even fit my right thigh. Then she said that I needed to calm down and that we should just go get drinks. And then she ended up copying my outfit. She wore a gray blazer with skinny jeans. When we get to the bar, I started having fun right away. I saw one of my besties from work, and her and I get along so well. This is when I noticed my bestie was really quiet. But as usual, she's only waiting for a guy to come hit on her. Finally, some random dude comes up to her and asks her if she wants a drink. She's like, "Oh my god, thank you so much." Then she looks at me and says, "It's always good to have you around, you know?" Part 3 is up. My bestie only keeps me around because I'm fat and I make her look good. Disclaimer, this is not my story time with send me on Instagram. That's when she tells me that it's always good having me around, you know? And I did not know what she meant at the time. When the random guy shows up with her drink, and then she does the thing that she always does. She flirts with these guys, puts her hand on their shoulder, tends to laugh at their stupid nasty ass jokes in the hopes of getting a second drink. Me, on the other hand, was dancing and having fun with my coworker. That's when the random guy says, "Hey you need to tell your best friend to give me her phone number." And I responded, "I mean, she will if she thinks you're hot." That's when my best friend whispers into this guy's ear, but loud enough for me to hear, "Oh, she's just upset because I'm the one that gets hit on and not her. You know, because she's a little bit chubby." It didn't even make me angry. I already knew she thought this, but it stung. Like the fatty I am, I invited my coworker to a nice dinner. I left my bestie at the bar without a car. I also sent her a text saying, "I heard what you said about me to the guy, and if that's what you really think about me, then this is not a friendship I need to be pursuing." The next morning, I had about 20 missed calls from her, and so I blocked her. If she really wanted to, she could have come to my house. Do you think I did the right thing? Self-care sister out. I found out my boyfriend didn't use protection when he cheated on me. If you want to send me your story time, slide into my DMs. I ran through boyfriend is a slut. 2 years ago, we met through friends at a party. He was asking for my number before he even knew my name. To be perfectly blunt, I thought he was kind of ugly. Wasn't anything particularly special about him. He wasn't well-spoken or intelligent, wasn't good-looking, he didn't have a high-paying job. The only good quality I found in him that night was that he made me laugh. Not just once, but basically the entire night. I really underestimated just how much a man making me laugh made me feel good, so I gave the poor ugly guy a chance. I gave him my number. 2 weeks later, I get a stupid dumb text from him. "Hey, do you want to go out to brunch?" And I said sure. He ends up taking me to brunch in Lavo, NYC. If you know Lavo, you know that it's basically like a club in the morning, but with brunch food. So he got a couple of drinks in me, and before I knew it, he started looking pretty. And bam, he went in for a kiss, and I let him. A month later, we were together. But I caught him texting one of his exes. I broke up with him. We got back together. I caught him talking to another girl on Instagram. We broke up. We got back together. Then he was on his best behavior for a couple of months. Go to part 2, it's already up. Found out my ran-through boyfriend didn't use protection when he cheated on me. If you want to send me your story time, slide into my DMs. Let me remind you, he was the ugly guy I gave a chance. After the 3rd time I caught him talking to a girl on Instagram, I broke things off, but then he was on his best behavior, so we got back together. This is where I severely underestimated him. You see, because I thought he was a little bit ugly, didn't have a high-paying job, wasn't particularly smart, but he could make me laugh, just didn't think he was able to get girls, especially not ones that were willing to take off their clothes in front of him. But one day I catch him scratching his thingy. Like a lot, you know? Not normal. So I ask him, "What is wrong with you?" Then he starts to cry and breaks down. He says that he cheated on me with a girl and that he did not use protection. So right then and there, I took myself to the doctor and I got myself tested, and thank God I did not catch whatever he had. Turns out he has crabs. Google that at your own risk. Do you think he even apologized to me? Nope. In fact, he ghosted me. Called him and texted and he blocked me. I went to his apartment and he wouldn't let me in. This is what I get for giving the ugly guy a chance. He didn't even care for my own safety. He wasn't even gonna tell me about it. Now, how should I get revenge? My husband turned me into a corn star on OF without me even knowing. Disclaimer, this is not my story time with Cinema on Instagram. I obviously married for love. When he and I started dating, we were compatible in everything. We got along so well, so considerate, and he loved my family and they loved him. When I agreed to marry him, he promised me that he would do anything to put a roof over my head. See, he didn't have 2 pennies to rub together. In fact, I was paying for most of our dates. I was the one helping him pay off his car. 2 months after we got married, he suddenly started getting money. And he didn't have a new job, but he told me that he had a secret project and that this was helping him get money. 4 months later, he bought me a new car and a whole new wardrobe, and he paid me back all the money he owed me. Another few months passed by, and that's when he told me that I should quit my job and that he was ready to pay for everything. I was shocked and I didn't believe him. I obviously wanted to see where the money was coming from. That's when he told me that I would have to promise not to get mad at him. That's when he told me that he had been recording us doing the dirty. How is that making him money? Girl, don't worry, part 2 is up. My husband turned me into a corn star on OF without me even knowing. Disclaimer, this is not my story time with Cinema on Instagram. This is when he finally confessed that he had been recording us doing the dirty. At first, I didn't get it. To be honest, he was my husband, so it was okay. Then he told me that he had been posting the videos on a platform called OF. I had never heard of it before, and then he filled me in. He showed me all of our earnings for the past 12 months. It was almost $150,000. I had never seen that much money in my life. He and I both came from poor families, and that's when he broke down and started to cry. He apologized and told me that he would delete the account, but I had an epiphany. I agreed to continue doing it. Never in my life would I have considered doing something like this, but we had been broke for so long. It was nice that he was paying for everything, that we could afford the better brands at the supermarket. But here's the thing. When I asked him to show me the videos that he had posted of me, I was humiliated and mortified. I thought he had at least covered my face, but no. You could see all of me and him in these videos. And then I made a huge mistake. I read the comments, and it turns out I have a new stalker. Girl, you better believe part 3 is up. Go watch it. Story time about how my husband turned me into a corn star on OF without me even knowing. Disclaimer, this is not my story time with Cinema on Instagram. When he finally showed me the account and I checked the comments, I came to realize I had a stalker. This man knew a lot of stuff about me. He found out where I studied, and he even found out the city we lived in. At this point, I was okay with my husband posting videos of me on OF without me knowing, because the money was so good. We were so broke, we needed it. That's when he promised me that he would block that guy, and that from now on he would blur my face. And I agreed. Which is crazy, I know. So he ended up blocking the stalker and going on with the account. Deal was that I didn't have to do any posting, but I would just participate in the videos like usual. He would do all the editing, but that I would have control of all the money. A year later, I bought my mom a house, and we bought ourselves an apartment, and we started selling stuff on Amazon. And I'm basically the accountant. Control all the money going in and out, and my husband does the rest. Literally nobody knows. We've both kept the secret, and our families just think that we've leveled up. Do you think this is totally wrong, or should we just keep going? Self-care sister out. Story time about how my coworker essayed me and then got me fired. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. I repeat, this is not my story time. 2 years ago, I decided to move to LA to become an actress. Like everyone else who's trying to become an actor, moving to LA, you're probably broke. I told my parents I wanted to move to LA. They said no. I turned 21 and I decided I'm just gonna do it. I got hired at a restaurant as a waitress and I worked for 9 months. And I was able to save around $20,000. I thought this was pretty good. My parents drove me and my things all the way to LA, were my co-signers for my apartment. I got a pretty decent apartment. As soon as I arrived, I started auditioning and I booked a small job. I paid around $500. While I was on set, there was another actress, and she was really nice. We got along, and she was surprised that I had only been in LA a couple of days. She told me that she could get me a job, and I said yes. When I tell you that everyone at this restaurant looked like a model, I am not lying. I was surprised I even got the job because I was not as good looking as everybody else. I was hired as a server, and a couple of months into my job, this new guy was hired. Let's call him Jake. Jake was incredibly hot, and he knew it. He thought he deserved every single girl, but I was pretty much an asshole to him because I didn't like that. Jake stole my number and started texting me. You have to go to part 2. Story time about how my coworker essayed me and got me fired. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. I repeat, this is not my story time. After I got hired at this new restaurant as a server, this new guy was hired 2 months later. He was the biggest asshole. He was good looking and he knew it. He started trying to talk to me, but I was a complete asshole to him. And that's when I realized he stole my number from the schedule because I started receiving text messages from him. First, he was just asking, what day are you working? Can you cover my shifts? And at first I would just give him really short answers and he clearly didn't like that. He started to call me. When I didn't answer, he kept texting. When I didn't text, he kept calling. Every time I'd see him at work, I would just avoid him. One day we were both scheduled for the closing shift. I was polishing silverware at one of the tables when he came and sat down next to me and started asking me 20 questions. Where I was from, I have a boyfriend, did I like guys, did I do things to myself if I was alone, if you know what I mean. That's when he grabbed my boobula without saying anything, just out of nowhere. He wouldn't let it go. I screamed so loud my manager came running. It gets worse. Part 3 is up. Story time about my coworker essayed me and got me fired. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. I repeat, this is not my story time. As this guy was grabbing my boobula, I yelled so loud my manager came running. and my manager caught him grabbing my boobala. Guess what? My manager just told him to stop. And he told us that anything between us has to happen outside of work. With tears in my eyes, I said to him, I did not consent. I told him to stop. That's when my manager said, I've seen you flirting with him. You probably provoked him. I just went home and cried. Jake apologized over text, and then he asked me out on a date. He clearly did not understand that I didn't like him and that I didn't want him to touch me. I managed to survive 3 more months. Just avoided Jake and my manager. I was making at least $1,200 a week. It was too good to quit. After 3 months, my manager started giving me terrible hours, and Jake would try to corner me, try to grab my hand, and then one day I wake up to an email telling me not to come into work. My manager told me that I was fired. Weeks later, I found out Jake and my manager were besties. I found a better job. My parents think I should sue, but I think it's not worth the trouble. What do you guys think? What should I do? I ended up getting plastic surgery because my boyfriend is prettier and hotter than me. You can totally roast me in the comments, but hear me out. When he and I matched on Bumble, I was shocked that he would even want to talk to me. I knew right away that he was way out of my league, and he was way prettier than me. Preparation to go on this date, I dieted for 3 weeks, and I lost 7 pounds. I put 3 layers on of Skims compression Spanx. That's how desperate I was to look skinny. Colored my hair chocolate brown, got the butterfly haircut, got 1 ml of lip filler. And the day of the date, I actually got my makeup done, but it was such minimal makeup that he thought I wasn't wearing anything. By the end of those 3 weeks, I had completely transformed. And the first time he met me, he kept commenting how beautiful my skin was, how rosy my cheeks were, pretty and plump my lips were. I actually believed I had no makeup on. I realized everything I did worked. I knew from this moment on I had to keep up the act. Now, no way in hell was I ever gonna have a small waist. So I went to a plastic surgeon, and I ended up getting 360 lipo. And I also got new boobalas, but they weren't huge, they were just a little bit bigger. How did I explain this? I told him I had appendicitis and that I had to get surgery. Have to go to part 2, it's up. I got liposuction because of my hot boyfriend. I knew I needed to keep up appearances, so I decided to just go ahead and get the plastic surgery. At this point, him and I had only gone on 3 dates. He kept telling me how much he liked me. So I got the 360 lipo, I got a boobie og, only 1 size up. Got cheek and under eye filler, I got a little bit more in my lips. Told him I had appendicitis and this is why I was getting surgery. He came to my apartment twice while I was recovering. 3 weeks later, I looked so much better. And around that time is when he asked me to be his girlfriend. I kept eating healthy and working out and I kept losing weight, but I knew that I needed to keep up the makeup look. He thought I wasn't wearing any makeup when we met. Whenever I stayed over at his place, I would wake up earlier and put a little bit of makeup on. It's been a year and he still doesn't know about any of it. I don't care. I'll continue to put makeup on and style my hair in the mornings before he wakes up. My body looks a million times better now that I actually have a waist. And I've been putting in the work and gained lots of muscle. All of my friends have congratulated me for my glow up. My life has gotten so much better. People treat me better. I even got the position I wanted at work. Now I have the hottest, most amazing boyfriend. This wouldn't have happened had I not put the work into myself. Would you have done the same, or is this totally cringe?